and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. Once upon a time, in a galaxy far, far away, there was this beautiful, wonderful IP called Star Wars, right? It took us to a distant place, to a planets we've never seen, with aliens we've never seen, with space wizards and laser swords and epic space battles and a true fight between good and evil, and an evil, oppressive government that wanted to control every aspect of your life, and a small, rebellious force just simply out there fighting for freedom. It was a story that all of us could relate to, especially as Americans, especially as those of us in Western civilization who understood how it was to be the little guy and push back against the big person and actually be able to win. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful, beautiful sight, boys and girls. It's one of the most glorious stories of all time. It's an incredible hero's journey. It's an absolute incredible arc with wonderful character growth and so much beloved lore out there inside of the expanded universe. And yes, boys and girls, it will always be the expanded universe because, ladies and gentlemen, we have a much darker tale to tell you today, but there is hope. There is hope, ladies and gentlemen, because the rebellion is pushing back. The rebellion is winning. And if you're out here enjoying this as much as I am, boys and girls, welcome to the rebellion, as our dear Dwunk 3PO said, because, ladies and gentlemen, the Empire itself has once again risen and taken control of Star Wars. Yes, the House of Mouse has become the one thing they promised us they would never be. Emperor Palpatine himself, ladies and gentlemen, and the rebellion has spoken because it has gotten so bad. You didn't think it could get any worse over at Disney Star Wars, did you, ladies and gentlemen? Because after the latest episode of The Acolyte, we thought the numbers were bad before. The fans now absolutely have spoken. The rebellion has spoken. And they don't want anything that the Empire is cooking. Because, boys and girls, Star Wars The Acolyte's audience score, which was already the lowest rated Star Wars product of all time. Not just the worst Disney Star Wars product of all time, but this thing officially has a worse audience score on Rotten Tomatoes than the holiday special. Yes, that abomination that everybody has tried to forget and bury. This is now rated worse than that. And guess what? After the latest episode, the numbers have gotten even worse. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your hope. That is your light at the end of the tunnel, because the rebellion has spoken. The fans have spoken. The paying customers have spoken, and they don't want anything to do with this abomination that is Disney Star Wars is The Acolyte. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about here, because we are making shame great again, boys and girls, and Disney Star Wars is something that deserves to be shamed, laughed at, mocked, and ridiculed, and that's exactly what we're going to do right here. So we're going to get this article from that Park Place, getting all of the juicy details and see exactly how bad this has gotten, and of course, check a real-time live in the middle of this recording current status update to see if it's gotten any worse over at Rotten Tomatoes. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, subscribe and or follow if you have not already. And whether you're watching on the live stream or right now, or you're catching this video later on, make sure you leave us in the comments down below and let us know, how bad do you think this Rotten Tomatoes score could actually end up? Do you think it could get worse? So from that Park Place, shout out to John F. Trent. Star Wars The Acolyte audience score gets even worse for Disney and Lucasfilm following the introduction of lesbian witches. And yes, boys and girls, if you, like the majority of the audiences out there, have not actually watched this show, well, yeah. So long before Darth Plagueis the Wise decided to try to screw with the Force and create the ultimate Sith, and have it backfire on him, only for the Force to create the one human being that would bring balance to the Force. Well, no, boys and girls. Darth Plagueis the Wise wasn't the first, and it wasn't the Force pushing back. No, it was a couple of lesbian witches using dark Force powers, using Night Sister kind of witch magic to do the exact same thing way before him. So The lesbian witches did it first. Sorry, Darth Plagueis. If the Walt Disney Company and Lucasfilm thought their audience scores could get any worse following the first 2 episodes of the show, they received a rude awakening at the show's audience scores across multiple aggregated has sharply fallen. Following the release of the first 2 episodes, the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes sat at a 32% with an average rating of 2.1 out of 5. Woohoo! Doggies. That score has now fallen to 20% with an average rating of 1.5 out of 5. And even the critic score has declined from 93% to 85%. And remember, that's the all critic score, not the actual top tier critics, the ones that actually work for established legacy media organizations, aka shill access media. Although technically all the people that acquire for the all ones, those are the real shill media, because those are the ones that literally their lifeblood lives on access. At least the other guys actually get a paycheck. So yeah, trust me, I guarantee that score's even worse. And when we look at the real-time Rotten Tomatoes score, I promise you it's gonna be. On IMDb, the score initially sat at a 5.1 out of 10, albeit the unweighted mean was a 4.4, and the polarity votes were a 1 out of 10. Wow. So that means the majority of people gave it a 1 out of 10 on IMDb. Well, it's gotten worse. The score has now fallen to a 4.0 out of 10, with the unweighted mean to a 3.5 out of 10. Almost a majority of all viewers are a 1 out of 10 as well. Yeah, man, Mr. Iger, let me tell you, Kathleen Kennedy here, this new woke agenda, this new diversity, this new LGBTQ mafia stuff, it's the next hot thing. It is going to take Star Wars into the stratosphere. How's that $4 billion investment going over there, Disney shareholders? Just curious. Well, I don't know. Has anybody ever seen $4 billion lit on fire so fast at any time in known history? I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below if there's anything worse than that. So if you look at the reviews per episode, it clearly shows the viewers did not like the third episode. The first episode received a 5.8. The second episode received a 5.6. However, the third episode received a 3.7. Of note, the third episode has also received less reviews, indicating that a number of people have tuned out of the show following the first 2 episodes and chose not to even watch the third episode. The number of reviews between the first and third episode declined by nearly 32%. I cannot wait for the Nielsen numbers to come in. Wouldn't it be funny if this didn't even rate in the top 10 for its premiere with the 2 episodes dropping? What do you want to bet Samba might not even report these numbers ever because of how bad they are? Much like they've never reported the Doctor Who numbers. Weird how that works. The only site where the score has not changed is on Metacritic, which of course we know who Metacritic's owned by. It still sits at a 4.1. It initially had 100 post reviews and 19 mixed reviews and 166 negative reviews. The user score still sits at a 4.1, but there are 354 positive reviews, 61 mixed reviews, and 599 negative reviews. The negative review reactions come in the wake of an extremely soft opening as a debut as far as numbers compared. Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot. We did get a little bit. Data analytics company Luminate reported the first 2 episodes only garnered 210 million watched. Third first right here. So basically ended up coming in. That was Ahsoka. That was Coco Melon. For comparison, according to Nielsen, right? So this is the other data analytics Luminate reported that only gained 200 million watch hours between 31st and 26th, right? Well, we don't have any other Illuminate numbers to actually compare it to. If you want to compare it to the Ahsoka numbers, we've already done that to show you how bad the viewing numbers are and an absolute past video out there. So boys and girls, let's see. We've talked about how bad the IMDb rating is. We've talked about how the Metacritic rating sounds like it's probably being messed with, or just nobody uses Metacritic, which is a very good possibility as well. And we've talked about the Rotten Tomatoes score. But what does the Rotten Tomatoes score look like right now? So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, where were we at just a second ago? According to this report, it was at a 20%. Now, this video article was written yesterday, at least at the time of the recording of this video. Ladies and gentlemen, as of now, at the time of this recording of this video, the Rotten Tomatoes score now sits at a 17%. Ladies and gentlemen, a 17%. Top critics, 72%. Now, these are the people that actually have to work for a legacy media institution. All critics are basically any Joe Bob out there with a blog that was able to get past the Rotten Tomatoes process, right? So those are the people that literally live and breathe on access to whatever Disney slop gives them, whatever first look that they get, right? Top critics is 72%. All audience, 10,000 plus ratings. 17%, boys and girls. This is worse than the holiday special. This is worse than absolutely everything else. We thought Obi-Wan Kenobi was bad. We thought Book of Boba Fett was bad. Ladies and gentlemen, the Acolyte and the lesbian witches have now seen Disney Star Wars turn into the worst rated Star Wars of all time. Now, I don't know about you, boys and girls. I mean, that's a hell of an accomplishment. They broke a record for sure, but I don't think it's the record that Bob Iger, Kathleen Kennedy, and our dear Leslie Headland would like to break. But that's the one that they have broken, and it's exactly what they deserve. It's the shame that they deserve, boys and girls, because they have come in to one of our most beloved IPs out there and intentionally devastated it and destroyed it, all for the sake of pushing their agenda and their own ideology. And guess what? The rebellion has spoken. 17% audience score. This is nothing more than a disastrous dumpster fire for the Walt Disney Company. And it's exactly what they deserve. So be shamed, Bob Iger. Be shamed, Kathleen Kennedy. And especially be shamed, Leslie Headland. And you know what? Dave Filoni, be shamed. Because there's a rumor out there that Coven Witches were your idea. So enjoy destroying what was once one of the most profitable franchises in history. Enjoy being king of the ash heap, and enjoy being shamed, because that's exactly what everybody over at Disney Star Wars 100% deserves.